Welcome to the Phoenix Prosperity Podcast, where wealth meets legacy. Join your host, Tim Fergestad, as we explore the journeys of Phoenix's finest to success and beyond.
Hello, this is Tim Fergestad. Thank you for joining us. I'm very pleased to have Jordan Garner with me here today. Jordan's the founder of Brand Sourcers, a company dedicated to empowering innovators and entrepreneurs through step-by-step guidance and product development. He's passionate about transforming creative concepts into market-ready products through strategic consulting. He has experience across industries like oil, medical, wellness, and beauty. ADHD has been a superpower for him, fueling his creativity and relentless drive. He's also a proud lifelong Phoenician, a native. That's awesome. I was just telling him that's like a unicorn. There's so many of us transplants from other places here. It's exciting to meet the lifelong Phoenician. And he's married with 2 kids in Queen Creek and spent much of his youth in Scottsdale. Welcome to the show, Jordan.
Thanks, Deb. Thanks for having me, man. I appreciate it.
All right. Well, that's a lot there. Let's talk real quick about how this area has changed just since you grew up, as well as in the past 10 years.
I mean, I remember even Mesa, areas of Mesa, where it was just dirt and we'd ride bikes and stuff. And then when my wife approached me and said, I want to move out to Queen Creek, I was like, oh, we can't go out there. That's like a one-road town. It's podunk, I think is actually what I told her. And I'd been out there, and then I came out here and I was like, this is bananas, because this thing is actually booming right now. They just built a brand new park for the family and stuff, and it's great. And then you have restaurants and stuff. So this probably is what I've seen growing the most. I saw Mesa, I saw Scottsdale. I mean, pretty much I've been here my whole life. So 39 years, I've seen this place just grow immensely. And a lot of areas don't look the same. And a lot of areas, even in the amount of time of leaving one to another, I'm like, oh, that area is kind of this. You go back and it's completely redeveloped. And now it's a popular area of town. You're like, man, that's wild, because I would have never gone there back in the day. But now they've got great restaurants and people go there to party.
Yep. So I came here in 2006. And where I live now in the Northwest Valley, when the people come out, sometimes I have people over here who are from here, and they say, oh, we used to come out here and party or drive our dirt bikes out in this neighborhood. And, there was no houses anywhere back in the day. We also yesterday we went down to Falcon Field. My son flew us around down over Queen Creek and around South Mountain down there, and then it was straight over the Phoenix International Airport. So we got a great view of all that stuff. And it's the sprawl is real. It's all over the place. It's continuing to boom.
Oh, 100%. And I definitely, they said something about, I don't know how accurate it is, but like Queen Creek is one of the 3rd largest growing cities in the country right now. And I wouldn't be surprised by that.
Right. Even down out further south, like Casa Grande and Maricopa. I've been down there. My daughter used to play club soccer, and we'd have to go down there once in a while. And every time I was there's new stuff, new buildings, new blocks, whole new developments.
Yeah, it's a good thing though, right? It's a good thing to see all these areas and lots of new people and bringing, I mean, like you said, kind of unicorn. I mean, there's not too many people that I know outside of my family that are born and raised in Arizona.
Right. But it's for a reason, right? It's not just because it's nice and sunny. There's like a lot of quality job growth. That's what I do, is real estate, right? And I do residential apartments and things like that. And the biggest metric we look for is quality job growth. And that's a lot of, Arizona's been very business friendly. So that's why one of the reasons why it continues to boom.
Yeah, I've got quite a few buddies out of state, and they're like, I got to get something going in Arizona. I got to go somewhere. The business is there. The talent's great there. And I think it's true. I mean, it's really one of those like hot spots where you can get really talented people, and it's a great place for business.
It's the Silicon Desert. Yep, it's booming. Anyway, so let's give me a snapshot of your business right now, and then we can talk maybe about how it got there, if that works.
Yeah. So the business right now is, I mean, I'll just briefly, because throughout my 15 years, I've been, product development is one of those things that everyone is like, oh yeah, product comes, it's here, but no one really knows how extensive like the work behind it is. I won't say no one, but most people don't. And a lot of companies struggle in that department. And a lot of the companies that I've worked for in the past, or that, that I've partnered with through my new company, product development still tends to be that issue where people can't hit deadlines, people order too much, and there's a whole slew of things that go into it. So what I decided to do was I said, hey, I've been doing this 15 years. I've been doing it for all sorts of different industries and all sorts of different people. Uh, Kind of about time to do it for myself. I know, I've gained a wealth of knowledge from a lot of smart people in the industry. I've seen, I mean, I lived through COVID trying to source gowns and all that kind of stuff
Oh
for the
boy.
hospital. So I had the most desirable job in the US at one point. And then kind of just within this last year said, okay, I've networked, I've gone to shows for the last 10 years. I'm going to all sorts of different trade shows and built up a network to where I said, you know what, I've paid my dues and I'm ready to bet on myself, and started my own
Nice.
company. So brand sourcers is, well, kind of what the name says, is like we help your brand, we source for you, we help you with product development. It really is the base of the business is where we help entrepreneurs or even businesses that are already established, with taking an idea. Like, say if Tim, you approached me and said, I have a pen, I want to create this pen, and I would say, okay, here are all the steps, because a lot of these people come and say a pen might be like a bad example, but like say any kind of idea that you have and stuff. Well, most people don't have any idea where to start. And most
Sure.
people, if you do start, because of the way the industry is and because of how different suppliers can be and stuff, you're either A, not going to get a fair price, B, not know the different options you have to look. There's differences between someone who is, say, a direct manufacturer as to someone who is a trader, who is a middleman, and it goes on and on. And then there's multiple
Right.
middlemen and stuff. So, and I've seen all that. And I know the negotiation tactics, and I've walked the trade show floors, and I can and show people how to really know this is who you're really working with. This is how to do a virtual audit of the company. Here's how to do a physical audit. Spend some time if you're really serious about getting this. And then also offer the option of, well, if it's just something that you just don't have the time for, we can also come on board and just do the entire product development process for you from start to finish.
Okay, interesting. So you sort of glossed over that like it wasn't that complicated.
It's very complicated. That's hard. I'm like, how much time do we have?
Yeah, I'm sure we could do multiple episodes on different, just bigger picture sort of product development in itself has a ton of different components, right? And
Right.
can you just give me a broader picture of all the hats you wear in that sense?
Yeah, so product development as a whole. So you have you have the supplier, or you have your client would be my customer. They would come to me. The next part they're going to do is they're going to ask you to find them something. That is called sourcing. So then sourcing is the role of me, as I would go and contact different suppliers and go from there. Then you have to start thinking of the role of supply chain, right? Because you have to coach these people into, you don't need to order 20,000 pieces of something. You can negotiate that down into 5,000 pieces. You want to do risk management and make sure you don't buy a bunch of product that may not sell, even though you think it's the greatest thing since
Okay.
bread.
And that's probably changed a lot in the past decade or so, and being able to niche down and get smaller production or smaller quantities and such.
Yeah. So yeah, especially it's funny because I do it all over international, but you kind of learn the different areas. So we could say China as an example. Each city, so you have like I'll give you an example. So eyelashes. Like, so eyelash extensions is something I've done for a long time. I just ended up in the beauty world. But like I would say 80% of eyelashes are coming out of Qingdao, and all the suppliers are all there, and it's all this super competitive field. So what you can do is actually
Huh.
pit these suppliers against each other, and then you can get a fair price, and you can get samples from each one of them to check quality. Sometimes they're working together, and then they have a trader as a middleman in the middle. So like that's a really intricate part that is very hard to do without doing it as many years as I have. But I can kind of
Okay.
you can still kind of teach these kind of things, like this comes from this area, this is what you look for. Um,
Okay.
and so I think that part of it's real big. So that's kind of the risk management. That's the whole supply chain thing. And then you kind of coach them. Some people don't even have their logos figured out. So we have ways of, helping them find that from a graphic design, because you're going to need a logo, and then you're going to need to understand packaging as well.
Well, there's you sort of skipped over the brand, right? That's the right. It's not just the logo. You have to have the proper name and know exactly how to market it and all that stuff, right?
Yeah, no, I was gonna go there next. So yes, you
Oh,
go low.
okay.
Yeah, because marketing's the hardest part of all of it. And I think if I could tell you one thing that I've seen over, and it doesn't matter what company I work with, you could have two companies buy the exact same product, and one company markets it as absolutely phenomenal, and one company tries and they kind of do a little bit of a job and it launches, and then it's just a total flop. Same product, but someone else could be out there selling millions of the exact same
Right.
product. So the marketing piece is so huge. So that's why
Right.
you really want to help them with, okay, are you comfortable with the logo? Are you comfortable with the brand colors? Do you have a brand guideline? Do you have a font you want to use? There's all these specific things that go into the branding side too, where it's like you want to
Right.
make sure that they're really committed to this. And once you get that kind of figured out, so now we've got on to branding. Now it's to marketing. Like, do you know how you want to market this? What's your customer look like? What is your ideal customer, right? So then you kind of break it into, are you trying to go from the 18 to 25 range? Are you trying to target 50 to 60-year-olds? There's all these different things where when someone says, oh, I got an idea to create something, it's like, oh, it's so much deeper than that. Like
Right.
to simplify it like that is wild to me. So we kind of help them dial down, figure that out, and then it's more of we kind of show, okay, cool, we're going to place an order. Now you can negotiate terms, and that's something that's very important that a lot of people don't pay attention to closely. I think, especially starting their own stuff, is someone will say, oh, we need all of it up front. And people will be like, okay, take my money. I'm like, no, no, no. Negotiate a 30/70. Do your best to get a 30/70. And if you can't get a 30/70, do a standard 50/50. But like, don't just accept the first thing that they give you. Because the one thing about anything in product development is you can always be negotiating. Never stop
Okay.
negotiating. And I'm talking over pennies. I had a company I worked with, and it was like I was saving 5 or 6 cents a nail polish bottle, right? But I said, but you're ordering 290,000 nail polish bottles, right? So do you
Right.
realize that
Right.
you're actually saving significant amount of money when you take it like that? So it's just teaching those kind of things, and working with these businesses and showing them how to be, you know, be so their P&Ls look great, right? So they're not sinking a bunch of money and then not making it a profit and trying to understand where it all goes. And that kind of goes into that. So I guess we'll go to the next stage, which is the shipping. That goes terms and then shipping. Shipping is where you kind of figure out what's the best way to do this. And there's multiple ways to figure out. I mean, shipping, we would spend honestly, we could spend a whole session on talking about shipping and then getting the product here and then how to do a launch, right? And then that's kind of taken over by marketing and that. So it's kind of
Okay.
the whole building a product from start to finish.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you for
Right, I
that.
know it's a lot, and I talk fast, and you're like, man.
So let's say an inventor, right? Somebody says, I have an attachment that wraps on your cup that keeps your coffee hot for 2 hours or something like that,
Right.
right? That there's different elements to that where you're going to know, maybe there's some batteries or electronics and things you source at different places. And do you walk them through all the components and how to go to a designer to source all that?
Yeah, yeah. So we have ways to do it. So I have companies I work with directly that can help with that, or I teach them how to do that. And I teach them cost-effective stuff that a lot of people like just glance over and they move along. So one of the best friends for an entrepreneur that's trying to start their own stuff is called Fiverr. And I'm not sure if you're familiar with that. Um,
Yep.
you hire freelance artists, freelance graphic designers, freelance packaging designers. So you can get someone to make a die line, and then you can then take that die line and then send it to another person on Fiverr that can then do the artwork for you. And this isn't costing you thousands of dollars. This is
Sure.
costing you hundreds of dollars.
Is there
Um,
any fear of losing your proprietary or your idea going out to third parties?
Well, it depends on what the idea, right, is. If it's something they want patented and something that takes a whole different journey. And if it's a prototype, that's a whole nother journey in itself too. But
Okay.
a lot of people are looking for, say a cosmetic. I can tell you right now, Korea is where you're going to want to go for cosmetics. It's usually the best grade, best quality and stuff. There's 10,000 skincare vendors in there, right? So you give them a list of
Okay.
options and you can help them, and you want to get them, here, this one's got this certification, this one can prove this one can make it through. There's a thing called MOCRA that's in the United States now too, that you have to pass for a lot of cosmetics and skincare. So we walk them through all those different channels so they know they're not just getting, just a rinse and repeat product that doesn't really have any value.
But so let's say you have an idea for some super moisturizing, gets rid of all your wrinkles cream. And you want to, yeah, I guess you go source that in Korea. You'd have them blend
Yeah.
it and make it.
Yep, you could blend it there. I mean, you could do it here in the States too. Just Korea comes to the mind when I'm talking cosmetics, just because that they're kind of the hot spot for that. But
Okay.
yeah, so they'll have formulations. You can try multiple formulations
But
usually, right?
but if it's not patented, but it's just your own, you said you kind of implied that it was a little bit different. How does that I mean, are you worried about losing your special formula of Coca-Cola if you have some that you're sending the recipe to somebody else, you know?
Yeah, I would say yes, but I would say there's not a whole lot you can do unless you get your stuff patented in all the countries. You're gonna have
Okay.
copycats anyway, and you're gonna have copycats from the States. I mean, that's the
Right.
other part. You're gonna have someone see that. And the thing I think a lot of people don't understand is like someone can tweak a formulation and add 3% salt, and then it's a different formulation, even though it doesn't do anything to actually affect it.
Huh.
So like if you're going to patent, go spend the money, get a really good patent on it, make sure you get a patent in multiple countries, and then go. And if you want to, that battle of going after people. But what I've seen in a lot of the places I worked and stuff with a lot of companies, that's not really anyone's goal. Anyone's goal is like
Okay.
they understand there's competition. As long as someone's not directly ripping you off, sometimes you're actually it's most of these. Like I would say, even the eyelash industry and some of these other ones, they all coexist because everyone wants everyone to succeed. It's not this like, and I think it's probably why I've stuck in beauty so long. It's not this like cutthroat, these pirates, like I want to take all theirs, I take all their customers and stuff.
Okay.
People fall into their own niches. I think it's with most beauty products and a lot of the different places I work, they kind of just fall into their own groups. And one eyelash brand could be this, and it doesn't necessarily mean in any way they're going to get these people. They can all coexist in this, I don't know, kind of little universe of everyone kind of getting along.
I imagine it's also establishing your brand presence, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Having a good brand presence, being one of the top players, there's a lot of things. Aligning yourself with top players is always a smart move too. And I tell a lot of these people, right? Like if they're starting a brand, say it was an eyelash brand or say it was a nail polish, I say go to a couple conferences, go mingle with the bigger brands, go talk to them, go see if there's anyone that can mentor you in these fields and stuff. Like, because a lot of what I've done over the years too is like making connections with people, going to dinners and stuff with literally not wanting anything out of it besides to gain knowledge. That's it, and I
Right.
tell people gain the knowledge in the industry, see who's welcoming, who's not, and kind of learn from there. That's just another aspect that's just a natural thing of business that'll help them out.
Okay. And the beauty market was more of an abundance mindset than scarcity. They were a little more welcome and played nicely with each other.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure I know there's plenty of stuff that goes on and stuff, but my experience has not been terrible. From a lot of the trade shows I go to, and it's funny because when we say it's a small world, I mean it's a small world, and it doesn't matter if it's waxing or if it's lash lifts or if it's med spa. Like everyone kind of knows everyone, and
Hmm.
everyone, and you'll see a lot of these people over and over at the same trade show. So that's why the networking portion, whether it be that or whether it be a medical trade show, right? It doesn't matter. We're sticking on beauty because that's what I'm in currently. Well,
Sure.
what I wasn't currently before I ventured out on my own. But like, yeah, you gotta really, if you're gonna go in and you're gonna try and do your own brand, your own product, well, you gotta eat, breathe, and sleep it. You gotta actually know it, and people have to know you. And you're not gonna do that just sitting behind and creating a website and stuff. Like if you're really good at social media, more power to you. That's great. But going out there and actually mingling with these other people who are doing it or have done it
Right.
already is like the number one piece of advice that I can give a new brand.
Okay. And how often do you end up working with them or licensing with a bigger company in the space? Let's stay in beauty, for example, right? If you have some new product and you're starting some new brand, is there often an exit strategy for a new product or company is that the goal is to sell it?
I mean, I think it's always everyone's goal. Yeah, I mean, but while I'm helping these people, it's all dependent, right? Because some people get eaten up by big companies real quick, and then other
Mhm.
people they've been doing it for 10 years and they're just hoping to get that knock and someone puts them under their umbrella.
Okay.
I think a lot of the companies and a lot of the companies I work with are younger or startups or I had this kid had this great idea out of Laguna and he wanted to create a product. Eyebrow pencils for men is what it is called, men pen, right? I'm like sitting there and like, what? I actually haven't seen that. That's such a niche thing, right? And I'm like, but I'm in beauty, and I'm like, and then he starts telling me about it. And he's like, oh yeah, we're using it over there and this. And I'm like, man, this is actually a pretty good idea because you're creating something in a space that no one really has. So then being able to work with people on that side is actually a huge benefit of what I get to do because I'm like, I get to see stuff that's just concept to actually delivery and then actually see it selling on TikTok or something along those lines.
Right.
So, and hopefully getting bought out someday, right? That's something I want to see them do. So,
Okay. Okay. So what sets you apart? What do you find easy or enjoyable that other people find challenging?
Well, I enjoy people first off, so I think that's a huge up. I think I say
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
semi sarcastically, but also like it's true. So I love the networking. I mean, I
Yeah.
worked for a company before. I was at a trade show, and I was there for about 9 hours straight of meetings or something. And they looked at me and they're like, "Are you still excited? You're still talking to people? What's wrong with you?" And I'm like, "Oh, I absolutely love this. I'll talk the rest of the night to someone and go out to dinner." Like, so for me, I think having that extroverted personality has always helped benefit me. And then also, I've been so driven to learn this craft and just push myself because I don't have a traditional background, right? I didn't go to college. I didn't do those things. I learned that, oh man, with my brain, supply chain, this sourcing stuff, margins, this stuff is like kind of excites me. And that's when I kind of got into it. And then since then, I was watching YouTube, I was reading the news, I was reading articles and all this stuff to kind of like better my understanding of what's going on. So, and I've worked in such a variety of different I guess fields between oil and medical, some smaller brands in between there, and now beauty that like there's not much I haven't seen. I saw the container crisis. I saw COVID. I've seen had to get stuff where I'm on a plane with, waiting for it to get dropped off. Then I'm on the phone with the FedEx driver, and then I'm waiting there as it's getting delivered to the hospital and stuff along those lines. So from an urgency standpoint, there's not much that I haven't seen. And I truly feel I'm one of those people that like I don't just talk the talk, like I can walk the walk and I can clearly show that if I have a conversation with someone or they're coming on board and they're like, tell me a little bit, or what happens if we're here? And I'm usually pretty, if it was something I hadn't seen yet, I'd be like, wow, I definitely haven't seen that. So, but here's what I would do. Right. So
Right.
for the most
Right.
part, and I love it and I love what I do. And I think that's, something that helps me a lot is like, I love working with people and I love what I do. And I love the satisfaction of seeing someone with an idea or someone already established, just bring a product or B, make their product already better and I get to actually physically witness all this happen. And, and just like, I think that's the most rewarding part of it all is seeing like concept, boom, reality, great. Oh man, this thing's selling and people love it. Like that to me is
Right.
where the reward part is.
Very cool. Very cool. Um, Trent, branching out on your own was that scary for you? There's risks associated with that, right? Taking on all the responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. The thing was, I kind of pushed it off. I had the urge to do it probably a little bit longer than I should have, like to not do it. Like I was sitting there, like I probably for a year, I'm like, I gotta do this. And then it was like, oh, I got comfortable. Like, oh, I got a good bonus. I'm here, maybe this is it. My wife's got a good job. And then I was just like, no, man, I'm so unfulfilled working for others. I think for me, working for myself and I was like, I gotta bet on myself, man. I mean,
Right.
I listen to a lot of good speakers too, like I like Jordan Peterson, Eric Thomas, I like David Goggins. Like there's a lot of guys who just like, I mean, at the end of the day, man, what have you
Push
got?
yourself.
Yeah, you push yourself. And that's how I've been my whole life. I'm that person who I get up every day, I go to the gym at 5 a.m. I'm drinking my coffee while I'm there. Then I take the dog for a walk, and then the kids are getting up and I'm like, oh cool, half my day has already started. Just
Right.
because that has really helped me. So I was like, if I can bring that same dedication, that same intensity that I've had working for other people and helping build their businesses, um,
Right.
I'm absolutely going to put that in 100% more into my own business. And so far it's paid off really well.
Awesome. Awesome. And what exciting plans do you have or initiatives, right, in the next 6 to 12 months? What's on the horizon that you're excited about?
Oh gosh, there's so many cool things that I'm working on. There's a RX product that we have that we're working on. I'm doing the beauty channel, I would say, of it, like a beauty RX side, but it's incredible for hair growth. And then it's also incredible for eyebrow growth. There's really nothing like it on the market. You
Hmm.
would think Rogaine, but then Rogaine on, I don't want to say steroids, right? Because it's not a steroid, but like think Rogaine on steroids is a funny way to put
Okay.
it. Like
Sure.
it's not effective, right? And here in the Valley, it's actually you can get it prescribed. The brand's called Revisi Labs. So it's just revisi.com, but it's going to be, that's one of the ones I'm pretty passionate about that I'm working on
Okay.
that is on the horizon. That's the next 12 months. That's really going to come. I think just
As a
that.
follically challenged person, I can see the appeal.
Yeah, I was like, well, should I say it or should I not say it? I'm just kidding.
I'm missing I- with the sun. I forget that I don't have hair sometimes, and I forget to wear a hat and other stuff, and that's not cool here in Phoenix. The sun's intense.
Yeah, no, yeah, yeah. You're gonna want to wear that hat or keep that sunscreen on there. But yeah, that's a big one. I've got, and it's just funny because the variety of projects that I have, I think, and that's what being an ADHD person, like I know my shelf life at a typical job, and I've had one that was 4 years, but it's about 2 years before I'm about pretty much tired of it. And it's not even a bad way. I'm just like I'm bored. Like you know what I mean? Because you put in a process, you do this, you do that, and you're like I'm bored. So
Right.
now I'm working with so many different variety of things that I'm like this is wild because like I get to do what I love and I'm not bored at all and it's
Yeah.
constantly changing daily
Right.
and then if something new comes up I'm like oh crap this is amazing too. So for me it's like I guess it's a perfect job suited for my brain is the way I'll
Okay. Is that a little bit of a bittersweet scenario where you take on too many shiny objects
Oh,
can
100%. Yes, yes. And that's the thing. It's like, because and as I tell my wife, I'm like, yeah, I can do the 16 hours right now, right? Because I'm young and stuff. So, like, right now, I'm going to put in the work like that. But yeah, at an eventual point, like, you'll have to start turning things down. And that's where you're like, and I've had to do that with a few things. And it's just like, I feel like I could have done it, but like, it's just like, obviously, you're prioritizing what you can and can't do because at a certain point, you can't do it all. And
right.
that's maybe the future growth plans of the company, finding some people like-minded that can do kind of the same thing as me. But we're in the beginning stages right now. It's going well, but yeah, I think in the next 12 months, if that was something that I could put maybe another employee or two on the payroll, that might be great. Because then we'd be successful because we'd have projects coming in, and that's always the goal.
Right. Right. You just reminded me though of there's a number of really successful people leaders who like Steve Jobs who said the, success is saying no to like 90 great ideas,
Yeah.
which is
Oh,
hard.
he's right though too. He's right because you're like, oh, I don't want to say no, but I literally there aren't 25 hours in the day, right? You're like, I gotta sleep at some
Right.
point. But yeah, and that would probably be, I think, the biggest issue with it, right? Because like I'm not slowing down, I'm not going to trade shows, I'm not networking, I'm not talking to people, right? All those things are going as fast as they were before. So you got to sit back and be like, okay, what does the future look like for this? And I think maybe 12 months down the road, it is getting someone else on staff or a couple of people on staff that actually, have kind of the same mindset, the same fuel that I do and kind of desire to do this line of work, which is product development, which is actually a
Okay.
super cool field.
Allowing you to scale a little bit.
A little bit, yes, sir.
Okay, very cool, very cool. I was just also reminded, thinking about Apple, right? And it's not you gave the example of two companies with the same widget, right? And one successfully marketing it and the other one not. Like Apple, right?
Right.
I have an iPhone, but I know it's not the best phone for the price, right? But McDonald's doesn't make the best hamburgers, right?
Right. Oh, yeah,
But
you just they're not, but you're like, it's good and it's good enough and
but
I like it and it's marketed well.
yes, proper marketing is paramount.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's just the key to remember for any product development. I do tell clients like really you get one time to launch it right. So don't ever rush. Don't ever be like, I gotta like take your time and don't ever rush to launch because you really do get one time to launch it right. And if you don't, it's very hard to be like, well, but wait, hold on, let's try this. And I've never seen it work. So I'm sure it has throughout history, but I personally haven't experienced that.
Our second grand opening.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Exactly. Great point.
So looking back, what do you wish you knew about building wealth and success earlier in your career?
Oh man, I wish I would have saved a little bit more. That's for sure. That would have probably been a little
Sure.
more
That's a
helpful.
that's a common one. Almost everybody doesn't appreciate that they need to get their money working for them sooner.
Yeah, and I think the value of having, like a 401k or an IRA, some of those things where it's like your money can make money for you over time.
Mhm.
What are you doing not having companies match? Because I was like, man, I would have had if I would have just taken the money and matched it, but I was so young, I was like, I just want to take whatever money I can get. I got to pay bills. Um,
Right.
Probably would have a decent chunk there too. So savings is a huge thing. And then I think spending time with like I wish I would have spent time with people way smarter than me like I do now back then because I think it probably could have excelled my career. I wouldn't change anything.
Right.
I'm here to where I am now because of everything. But I go and have lunches sometimes and I'm by for sure the youngest and the least accomplished out of that group of people and I absolutely love it. I thrive off of it.
Right.
tell me more. Like, how about this? Oh, you sold your company. Tell me how that went. How much did you sell for? What's the EBITDA? Like, just that stuff fuels me to be like, okay, I know. I mean, I know I'm going to be there one day. It's just a matter of like, so I like doing those things. So I think if I would have been more on that side of being like, oh man, I can gain a wealth of knowledge from these other people, as opposed to like, I was just in grind. I got to do it myself. It's,
Right.
it's Jordan's world. And now I'm like realizing, like, especially as my networks grow, I'm around a lot of intelligent people. I'm like, man, you guys can teach me so much in such a fast time that I just would have never.
For sure. It can be rocket fuel when you get in a room of people who think what you want to do is easy. They've already done it, and right? And you think it's hard, and that's, yeah, you want to be the least accomplished person in the room, for sure. Also, I'd say it's inspiring, right?
Oh, for sure.
Not just hanging out with the right people in the right environment.
And you're like, because you've seen it and they've done it, right? So there's not like, oh, I hope I can get this, or they're like, no, we've done it like multiple times. And you're like,
Right.
that's fantastic.
Right.
Please tell me more.
And that's actually like where a lot of the thrill is, right? Like it's the new next product, right? That's something that's exciting. That's the premise of the show, The Undercover Billionaire, I think. Did you ever see that one?
Yeah, I did see that. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. The fun part is starting over. Give me $100 and a cell phone and a used truck, and let's see if I can build $1 million company. How quickly I can do it, right? That's the fun part.
Right. Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely, so those two things, saving and then you surrounding yourself with, way smarter people. I think those can excel anyone's like money, but also just like your business very quickly.
Right. Are you in any sort of masterminds you want to share? Or I know I've had some people on here, like the head of the entrepreneurs organization and so
No,
forth.
I'm not currently. No, I typically, like, I have a lot of friends who are in those groups and stuff, and some of those same people I'm telling you about, they head associations and stuff. So like, I have a good friend in the Valley. His name's Alan Sher. He's the head of the Spa Association. He's one of those guys where I'm just like, Alan, I got a question, and he's out here. I think he's in Cave Creek, and he's like, okay, what's the question? And just one of those dudes who's always there. So I would say.
Right.
Yeah, he's one in the Valley, but yeah, as far as being part of those, not quite yet. Definitely something I want to do, but like I have
Okay.
surrounded myself with a lot of like, pretty cool, pretty smart, just down to earth and then kind people, right? Like that's the one thing, I guess I'll add in there is like, there's a lot of people in this world. There's a lot of successful people in this world. There's not, but like successful, kind people. Now that's where that's a unicorn. That right there, and those are what I try and.
Right. That's traditionally, right, the old school mentor you'd find organically versus being part of like a paid mastermind or something. But yeah, that's gold for sure. All right. Well, Jordan, thank you so much for your time today. And if somebody wanted to connect with you, what should they do?
So go to the website. It's brand sourcers with an S on it .com. And so the email goes directly to me. It's also got my cell phone number. I work through WhatsApp, which is very common in this industry. But any ways to contact me on that, super simple. And then you can find me on Facebook as well.
Okay, excellent. All right. Well, thank you everybody for listening and watching. Thank you very much, Jordan Garner, for joining me today. We appreciate you sharing your story and your insights in the various industries and product development. Thank you.
Likewise, Tim, I appreciate you too, man. Have a great night.
Inspired by our guests? Visit phoenixprosperitypodcast.com/guest and join us on the show and share your success story with Tim. The spotlight awaits.